All right, guys, this is it. This is a big one. Many of you have reached out and asked for this specific piece of content, and it took me a while to get it put together. We had to do some crowdsourcing, but we got there. This is whatever you want to call it. The Bubble Boys, the Fringe Fellas, the Cut List Conundrum. These are, and I don't even know how many names there are, something like 60 to 75. These are the 60 to 75 names that you submitted to me as players that were on your bubble, trying to figure out what to do with them. So I went through and I took every name that you guys shouted at me on social media, and there were about 130, 135 responses, but a lot of it was repeats on the same guys. And I put them all on a list, and then I sorted them into 8 buckets, because you guys know I like buckets. And today, we're going to go through all 8 buckets and every single name. We're going to go fast, fast, fast on some, and we're going to slow down a little bit on others. And we're going to let you know why I put each particular player in each particular spot. Welcome to Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. I'm Dan Vespers. Please hit that subscribe button now, now, now. Follow me over on social media at Dan Vespers. This show is brought to you by FanDuel and the Believe Network. And these are the 2025 Old Man Squad Bubble Boy Bucket Board names. There wasn't another B I had at the end there. We'll make that bigger for the YouTubers so you guys can see it as large as possible. If my face covers up the word board, I don't think that really matters to you all that much. Scrolling over to the left, we're going to start. The buckets are definite yeses, team build type ads, temporary ads, so mostly injury related, speculative ads, tough holds, doesn't matters, watch list guys, and drops. And there are a lot of names, so let's just start firing away. The definite yes board, we'll zoom in a little bit farther on this one, is Keegan Murray, Bilal Coulibaly, Derek Queen, Neemias Queta, Quentin Grimes, Dylan Brooks, Jordan Poole, Jabari Smith Jr., Mark Williams, Cedric Coward, Reed Shepard, Benedict Mathurin, Zach Edey, Donovan Clingan, PJ Washington, Kaysen Wallace, Yusuf Nurkic, Tumani Kamara, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Jeremy Grant, Keyshawn George, and Trey Jones. The players on that list that I think we can slow down to talk about a little bit with Keegan Murray. I mean, this is a pretty obvious one. As soon as he's playing, he has a shot to be a top 75 guy. Bilal Coulibaly. With this one, honestly, I don't know that he's going to end up as a definite yes as the season goes. I just think we need to give him a shot. He's 176 right now, but he's played 24 and a half minutes a ball game. He's going to be a bad percentages guy, but I don't think it's going to be this bad. He's at 36% from the field. When you get those minutes up to starters level, you're looking at a guy that's going to have more than 5 rebounds a game, probably more than 4 assists. A steal, a block, and a three-pointer is very much within reach. And then you hope for something like, I don't know, 42, 43% from the field, 70-something at the free throw line. Does that wedge him up towards the top 100 in straight 9-cat? Maybe. And if you're punting something, one of the 2 percentages, that's a way that he probably gets a little bit higher up the board. Derek Queen is a fairly straightforward one. He's getting a lot of playing time right now. I don't know if he's going to get displaced by Zion. I think that's still a distinct possibility, but it's not going to be forever. It's what we've talked about on this show a bunch of times, is I think there's going to be a little dip coming for Queen, but I do think that the overall arc, even if it goes down in the short term, I should go this way on for so it looks the right way on the screen. No, there we go. Go down and then slowly ascends back up again. Neemias Queta, I'm not really sure why I got questions on Queta. I was worried about him early in the year when his minutes were stuck at 23, but he's played high 20s in minutes over the last week, basically. He's up to 27, and he's top 70 during that stretch. So very much an easy yes. Quentin Grimes, we got some good data on him yesterday. This might be temporary, depending on what happens when Kelly Oubre comes back, but he withstood the return of Paul George just fine without Kelly Oubre around. So Grimes remains on the yes board. Dylan Brooks should not have even been on this list, but he got submitted by you guys, and every name that you guys threw at me, I put on there. Dylan Brooks is top 20 over the last week. On the season, he's actually number 32. So, yeah. Jordan Poole's a tougher one. He's on the yes list. I didn't want Jordan Poole this year. I didn't draft him anywhere. He's number 204, but he's also shooting 35% on very high volume. He's gotten no defensive stats so far this year. I think he has like 2 steals and 2 blocks or something silly like that. all that stuff is going to get better for him, even on a bad Pelicans team. So he's both a buy low and a guy I don't really want all that bad, but he's definitely a guy that should be on rosters. Jabari Smith Jr. is the next name on the definite yes board. He's number 76 on the season. I know he's slowed down after a quick start, but Tari Eason's out for a month, so that makes this call certainly easier than it could have been. And I think you can keep on rolling there. Mark Williams made the list. I know he's been annoying, and I know I tried to talk you guys out of drafting him, but he is top 60 in 9-cat with the low turnovers helping. Steals probably come down a little bit, but overall, he's a center that gets boards. He's a center that gets some defensive stats, not a ton, but he's a center that gets good percentages. He's basically like Jared Allen without durability. So yeah, keep him on your roster. Cedric Coward should be on roster, especially now with Ja Morant set to miss a couple of weeks. Coward is number 72 on the year. He's been wildly efficient, amazingly, and he's probably going to get to do more. Reed Shepherd, another really easy call, especially with Tari Eason going down. Shepherd, I assume, is going to be playing 25, 26 minutes a game, maybe the rest of the season, and he's been a third rounder lately in those type of numbers. Yes, the steals and field goal percent are going to come down from where they're at, but he's just a very efficient guy who gets defensive stats and threes. And we knew coming into the league he was going to be a great fantasy play. The question was, when was he going to get enough to do? And a thinning Rockets team is the perfect time for it. Now, what we haven't heard about a lot lately is Dorian Finney-Smith. That's a guy that could kind of knock a little bit out of whack, but there's no reason for you to get out in front of that. I was surprised to see Benedict Mathurin get submitted as a name for this board, but he's playing now, so I don't think we really need to talk about that. Zach Edey, very much a must-roster guy. He has a chance to be a top 60 per game guy if everything breaks the right way. Donovan Clingan, same story. Everybody's so frustrated by Donovan Clingan. I don't know what you guys were expecting. He was never going to be like a 15 and 15 point per game guy. You were always hoping to get. All right, so I'll give you this. I think we were hoping for a couple more rebounds. He's at 9 right now, and I think we were probably hoping for 10.5 out of Clingan. But 9 points, 9 boards, good defensive stats, and a field goal percent that should come up. He's already number 70 with the low turnovers. I have no problem here, other than I'd like to see a tiny bit more rebounding. PJ Washington, he's just sort of quietly rumbling along with his efficiency issues, and the free throws have been the big one. The other stuff is all fine for him. He's at 15, 7.5, 2 assists, good steals and blocks. We knew the field goal percent wasn't going to be great. We assumed the free throw was going to be not this many attempts and more like mid-70s instead of mid-60s. But if you peel all of that back and assume that he gets more towards his career mark, he's a guy that should push towards the top 100. So we'll leave him on our rosters. Cason Wallace, look, I'm not sure if he still has value when the Thunder are completely healthy. Will they ever be completely healthy? Aaron Wiggins has been out. Alex Caruso's in and out. Jalen Williams has missed the entire year so far. Lou Dort missed a handful of games. Cason Wallace is number 78. He's a massive steals guy. That's where his value comes from. He's nothing without those. But as long as he's putting a ton of steals on the board, you just have to ride with it. And we'll see. Down the line, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever from now, maybe he does fade. But today, as we do this board today, he should be on rosters. Yusuf Nurkic should be on rosters. He's not shooting the ball well at all, but he's doing everything else in great supply. Over the last week, he's averaging 9 and 12 with 6 assists and almost 3 steals a game while shooting horribly. But who cares? He's putting up the rest of those numbers. And Toumani Camara is the next name on the the definite yes board. Guys, we got to calm down with the reactions. Camara can't shoot right now. Everything else has been fine. He's got to get some shots to drop. It's going to be okay. He's number 153, shooting 41% from the field and 71% at the free throw line. The steals will probably get a little bit better. I actually think the turnovers probably get a little bit better also. I know 2 is not high, but I think he drops down into the 1s, and then he'll be a top 100 guy. I feel very confident of that. Ryan Kalkbrenner, I don't know why he got submitted, but he did. He's number 46 in 9-cat this year. I realize that his stat line is very Donovan Clingan-esque, and so everybody hates it because they don't score. But 7 boards, 3 defensive stats, and 81% from both the field and the free throw line is a hard yes. I struggled with the next name on the list is Jeremy Grant, who's down to number 107. I don't really know where to put him. I think at the end of all of this, he probably falls into that kind of doesn't matter range of like top 120 something. But we'll leave him on rosters for now. I think there's a chance that he could have a big game or two, especially if Drew Holiday has to miss another one. And then you might be able to sell high. I didn't have a sell high board for the fringe guys, but if we did, Jeremy Grant would be on it. Keyshawn George got thrown onto this list. I know he's not the world's greatest percentages guy, but who cares? He's at 17, 6, and 5 with a steal, a block, and 2.5 3-pointers. Definite yes. And then this one is the one that's been argued about the most, but I talked about it a little bit on our morning recap show. Trey Jones, I think there's like a 60 to 70% chance that he ends up being a drop when Kobe White gets fully up to speed. But I don't know. And that's the big issue for me there. I can't part with a guy that's been a top 50 fill-in play until I know he for sure is outside the top 100. And I don't know. So while he's in the definite yes department right now, I don't know that that holds through the next 2 weeks. So it's really this one's very, very temporary. By the way, Bam Adebayo just got upgraded to questionable while we were doing this podcast. So the Khalil Ware mega run might be nearing its conclusion. The next buckets for here are the team build type ads. Ace Bailey, Draymond Green, Jeremiah Fears, Russell Westbrook, Isaiah Collier, and VJ Edgecombe are the names on this one. Ace Bailey, I think, is a guy that's going to ramp up, and he'll probably be an all formats guy by February. But right now, you lean more towards the head-to-head type of team. I don't expect him to have great percentages as he learns the NBA game. I think he'll have some good points. I think he'll have some good rebounds. I think he'll have some decent steals. But the other stuff is going to be a struggle right now. So head-to-head only. Draymond Green, punt points only. This is what I said during draft season. Like last year, you had this run from Draymond Green right near the end of the season, and everybody was like, oh. But it was just because there were like 2 months where he had to lock in. Now, he's not going to shoot the ball at 21%, which is where he's at over the last week. That's not going to stick the entire year. I don't think he's going to stick even down at 37%. His free throws are at 58%. So a lot of stuff should come up for him a little bit, but he's still a punt points guy. That's it. Jeremiah Fears is a head-to-head guy because of his fantasy deficiencies. And if you guys need to find out what they are, like you can look up each guy and just look at what they're good and bad at. Fears is not going to be a good field goal percent guy. He's going to be probably kind of rough in turnovers, despite the assists not being all that high. Russell Westbrook is a points league darling. Points, boards, assists, steals he gets. He's going to be bad at field goal, free throw, and turnovers. So make sure that you're punting at least 2 of those. Or points leaguers, you're kind of punting all 3. Isaiah Collier is, frankly, he's going to get credit for being very different than Russell Westbrook. I don't think he's that different than Russell Westbrook. He doesn't score that much. He's going to probably get slightly better shooting than Russ, but the other stuff is going to be pretty similar. Like a lot of assists, not as many rebounds. So I don't get the Isaiah Collier mega love. I know he's going to be good at assists, and over the last week, he's shooting 63% from the field, which obviously not going to stick. And 30 minutes per game off the bench probably isn't going to stick. Now, if he ever gets pushed into the starting lineup, I would get a little bit higher on him. Right now, I think he's a head-to-head assists streamer for the most part. There's a little bit of upside built in there, but I don't know that it's going to click. And then VJ Edgecombe is also a team build type guy. Again, you guys can fight with me about this one if you want. He's been outside the top 200 over the last couple of weeks. Bad shooting. Not great free throw, which will probably get better. Turnovers have actually not been a problem the last week, but you're going to need to be punting at least one of those things, preferably more than one, to get him to that next run. The temporary ads, we're going to lightning round these guys because it's just reading the injury replacement board, a show that we normally do on Tuesdays, but we'll probably do the injury show at some point later in the week. Before we lightning round the temporary ads, I just want to remind you guys again, this show is brought to you by FanDuel and the FanDuel Sportsbook. Please check out that website if you want to see our title sponsor. And, of course, it's brought to you by you guys because I'm trying to keep everything free for everyone forever. And the only way that works is if we can grow these podcasts large enough that the advertising dollars will be enough on top of the YouTube members and the Patreon members. So if you have 99 cents to spare, I would just ask you to consider it. If you don't have 99 cents, don't worry about it. You can get your questions answered a little bit faster by me if you become a YouTube member and you post on the shows in the comments. I'll see those comments much sooner and I'll try to get back to you in short order. I don't know how long it's going to take, but there is a little bit of upside built in there, at least in terms of your access to me. So please consider those, if nothing else. I know like it takes more clicks and it takes some work, but if you got 99 cents, it would really mean a lot. Throw that into the mix. And if you want to see, by the way, this bubble board, what we're working off of, the Google Sheet is completely free, as everything is that I do. And the link is in the show description. So the temporary ads, there's a lot of them, but they're pretty easy. And frankly, there's more. Like I could just flip over to the injury board and you can see all the names on here. And I haven't even added the ones from yesterday. But these were just the temporary ads that you guys said to me. You were like, what do you think about this guy? And I was like, well, it's a temporary ad. So super fast. Dennis Jenkins for Cade Cunningham, Nikhil Alexander-Walker for Trae Young, Davion Mitchell for Tyler Hero, Deuce McBride for Jalen Brunson, Wendell Carter Jr., who's hovering just on the outside, but now I think he's just on the inside with Paolo out. It just opened up a few more shots and rebounds. Marcus Smart, although that one might be dead with LeBron coming back as soon as today. Andre Drummond, that's for Joel Embiid. Kevin Huerter, that's for either Kobe White or Trey Jones or some combination of those guys, or Josh Giddey when he was out. DeAndre Hunter, that to me is startable for Darius Garland. Luke Cornett for Wemby. Con Kneppel, maybe he doesn't end up being a temporary ad. It's possible he gets upgraded. He's one of the guys on this board that I would want to see what they do after the injured guy comes back. That's Brandon Miller. Royce O'Neal, that's with Jalen Green out and Grayson Allen. Peyton Watson is with Christian Brown out. Devin Vassell is with like half of the Spurs out. Castle and Harper and Wemby and on and on and on. And Daniel Gafford, that's with Anthony Davis out and Derek Lively mostly out. He's playing, but he's not really playing. Sadiq Bey, that's with Zion out, and AJ Mitchell, which you guys might disagree with me on that one, but I pretty strongly believe AJ Mitchell is going to get displaced if the Thunder ever get healthy. The two names that you guys threw at me that I'm putting on the speculative ad board are Moses Moody and Jordan Walsh. Those are guys that I don't think you can wait on. Speculative ad is like guys that are just above the watch list. It's basically watch list guys where I think if you wait to add them, someone else is going to do it first. Because Jordan Walsh, he's now starting for the Celtics. We don't have a great sample size, but over the last week, he's averaging 7 and 7 with 3.5 defensive stats. I don't think the defensive stats stick. I don't honestly even know that his job sticks. If he runs out of energy, they'll just rotate back to Sam Hauser or Josh Minot or try something else at that power forward spot. But that's where they're at right now, and I think you want to get in front of that one. Same story with Moses Moody. He's seeming to get a usage and playing time uptick for the Warriors. He's canning a lot of three-pointers, which they need to keep that floor spaced. He's top 70 over the last week, shooting over his head, mind you. But again, I think he's one of those names where if you wait, someone's going to grab him before you. The tough holds board. Cam Johnson finally had a good ball game, so that one got a little bit easier, but he's been bad in 11 out of 12 ball games. Derek Lively is on a very slow ramp-up pace right now. The good news about Lively is he really only needs to get to about 22 minutes to be playable in fantasy, but he's at like a dozen. So, yeah. I put Herb Jones on the tough holds board. I actually think we could put him on the drop list. I truly don't care. In fact, I'm going to do it right here while we're talking. I'm going to slide Herb over to the doesn't matter squad because I think he'll probably end in that 130 range, and 100 is probably the upside. Brandon Williams is a hold right now just to see what the next week or two brings. Aaron Nesmith is a tough hold because he was finally starting to get his efficiency together before he got hurt. Naz Reid, he's not a tough hold after last night. He was when I made this board, and then he had a big ball game, and now he's not anymore because he's had a couple of good ones in a row. But a week ago, you guys were in full-blown panic, and I had to beg you to hold on to Naz Reid. I lost track of what I was talking about. John Collins is a tough hold. I mean, the world is his oyster right now. He's just got to take advantage of it. And then Tari Eason, who's going to be out a month, that's a really, really, really tough hold. And frankly, if you're out of IL slots, then maybe you can't. But if you even have the tiniest opportunity to stick it out with Eason, try to do so. Here's the doesn't matter list. What the hell are doesn't matter guys? These are guys that I think are going to end up somewhere in the 125 range where you could play them, fine. You could not play them, fine. Like some of them are going to fit better than others. But ultimately, from a 9-cat standpoint, they're not really going to move the needle. And the names here are Tobias Harris, Max Christie, Musa Diabate, Noah Clowney, Zach Risa-Shea, Harrison Barnes, and now Herb Jones. I just think Tobias Harris is probably going to be like a 120 ranked guy. Max Christie, he'll have a couple good ones and he'll have a couple cold ones, and then guys will get healthy and he won't play at all. Musa Diabate has actually been top 90 so far this year, but he's doing it in 22 and a half minutes. And a couple of big ball games with Ryan Kalkbrenner, sat out 1, 2, I forget. But for Diabate, he's at 10 points, which I think is also probably going to come down. 8 rebounds, maybe that sticks. He's a pretty damn good rebounder. 2.1 defensive stats and 68-70 are the splits. I just think some of that creeps back down a little. Now, if Kalkbrenner ever went down, I'd be all over Diabate. I just don't think he can keep it up in 22 minutes. Noah Clowney, I just don't care. I really don't care. I don't like his fantasy game. I mean, maybe there's a universe where he could fit on your head-to-head team if you're punting all the right things. He's just not for me. Zachary Risa-Shea, same kind of story. He's shot the ball better the last week. He's shooting 64%, and he's still outside the top 120. Because he doesn't rebound. He doesn't really pass all that much. Doesn't hit that many threes. Not a good foul shooter. He's typically not a great field goal guy, but he's running hot right now. So I just don't care. Harrison Barnes, we don't really need to go into that. And then Herb, we just talked about a minute ago. I just think Herb's upside is top 100 this year, and that's not exciting enough for me. The watch list, which is a lot like the guys on the speculative ads board, but guys that I don't think, we got to move Isaiah Jackson. Jackson had a good ball game yesterday, so he's got to be a spec ad now. Didn't change a couple of names over from last night. So Isaiah Jackson is now a speculative ad based on one good ball game. He's just going to be on and off of rosters all year, but you can't miss it if it actually clicks. Ryan Dunn is on the watch list with Grayson Allen out again. He could end up being useful, but I don't think you need to get in front of it. Will Richard in Golden State, you definitely don't need to get in front of that one. TJ McConnell, I'm leaning towards drop, but can't hurt to just watch him. Ty Jerome, we're still far enough away where I don't think you need to pick him up. I got a lot of should I pick up Ty Jerome questions when Ja Morant got ruled out for 2 weeks. I think Ja comes back before Ty Jerome does. Might be wrong, but I think it. Aaron Wiggins, I think could actually be kind of decent if he came back soon, but we haven't heard anything good about him, and OKC's weird about injury reporting. And then Vince Williams Jr., we're hoping somebody steps up for Ja, but I don't think that you need to grab him ahead of time. Yeah, there's no reason to get in front of that one. No one's grabbing it. I mean, they shouldn't. You should be watching to see what happens. And the drops list. A lot of names here that I do not think belong on rosters. Dennis Schroeder, you guys are going to kill me for that one, I know. But he just isn't a 9-cat guy. He's just not. He's been better the last week, and he's still like top 190 over that stretch. On the season, he's 161 after a hot start. He's coming off the bench. He's a bad field goal percent guy. Even his free throws aren't that good this year. That's pretty weird. But he doesn't have many three-pointers. He doesn't get that many steals. He's pretty much assists and a little bit of scoring, and I just think you can do better. Specialist appeal, sure, but 9-cat, no. Anthony Simons, he's been awful. I think he had one good ball game mixed in there. He's number 210. He does nothing besides shoot threes. Igor Diemen, no. Isaiah Joe, he's had some pretty good games blended in, but I wouldn't take the Isaiah Joe plunge unless we knew a bunch of guys were out because he's very three-point heavy. Josh Minot, no. CJ McCollum, you guys know I'm out on CJ. I just don't think it's going to be useful this year. I don't care that he's scoring 16 points. And yeah, the field goal percent probably gets a little bit better, and maybe that pushes him into that 125 range. So perhaps I'm being too mean here, and we will move CJ up into the doesn't matter zone. But ultimately, I don't think he matters. Ron Holland, no. He's going to have to show me more. Paul Reed, that's going to be a no. Jalen Duren's back now. Jalen Wells in Memphis, I think. I mean, if you want to put all the Grizzlies on the watch list, that's fine. I just don't think there's enough fantasy game for him. Yves Missy is a no. Lonzo Ball is a no. Jonathan Kuminga is a no. Because he was trending down even beforehand. I just moved D'Angelo Russell into that vacant space. He's a no coming off the bench. I mean, Kuminga just doesn't have 9-cat game. Cam Whitmore, he had a couple of good ones, but he's a no. Trey Johnson, he's more of a down the line kind of guy, but you don't need to roster him right now. Here was one of the tough ones. I put Christian Brown on the drop list. Now, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, why am I holding Aaron Nesmith and not Christian Brown? And it was just looking at kind of like, what were they doing before they got hurt? If you can hold Brown, you probably should. But it just hasn't looked that great for him this year. And we knew the field goal percent was going to come down a bit. I don't know how far. He might still come back up a tad. If you want to hold on to Brown, if you have an IL spot, that's totally fine. But he's out a long time. And like for Nesmith and frankly, Tari Eason, we know Tari Eason's going to be a top 100 guy or better when he's healthy. Nesmith might not miss as long as these other guys. That's another reason. Jamal Shed somehow got suggested here. I didn't want to skip over anybody, but his name got thrown out. He's playing 18 minutes a game so far this year. I don't think that he's even in the vicinity of fantasy numbers. And then Rui Hachimura, who I've talked about a fair amount on this show, actually. He's been shooting the lights out, and he's still not getting inside the top 120. He just doesn't really have well-rounded enough fantasy game. It's just field goal percent and some points and threes, and you got to be better. Like, he's been good at field goal percent. He's been palatable in some other things. You can't get away with being like a nothing in 5 or 6 categories if the things you're good at, you're only kind of a little bit good at, and that's the Rui Hachimura story. And he's about to get dropped off the face of the earth with LeBron coming back anyway. And now we will zoom out the board for all to see. I can't even fit it all on one YouTube screen. I made it too wide. There. I don't think you guys can see it. The letters are too small, but that's everybody. That's the 2025 Old Man Squad Bubble Boy Bucket Board. As of November the 18th, we're going to try to update this board every week or so. I'll probably just throw it out to Twitter and say, hey, who am I missing? Who do I need to take off of this thing? I don't know that I ever need to remove names from the bucket board. The bubble board. Sorry, not the bucket board. Bubble board, bucket board, bubble bucket, rubber baby, buggy bumpers, buckets. Yeah, I mean, ultimately it'll get way too long, and we're doing shows on it. It's going to have to be like what names got added over the last week. So maybe we'll do like updates to this weekly or bi-weekly or something like that. Because I'm not going to go through 60 to 75 names every single time I do one of these shows. Listen, you guys are free to disagree with me on this. This was an idea that you guys came up with. You were like, Dan, what if you made a gigantic list of all of the fringe players and which ones you actually like and which ones you don't? And so I started to do that, and I was like, don't like does not cover this, not nearly enough. I need to have way more ways to bucket these guys out. And this is eventually what I came up with. So hopefully this is useful for you guys. If you have questions on it, I'm probably not going to see them. If you're a member and you have a question, I probably will see it. Hopefully everybody can just kind of crowdsource this thing. If you post a comment, other people in the comments maybe can help like talk to each other. That's actually good for the algorithm for the show also. So yeah, comment with each other. Get threads going. I can't do it this year. I got too many things going on, but you guys definitely can. You guys are really smart. Those of you that watch these shows, you guys are sharp basketball players. Fantasy basketball players. I don't know how you do in real life. I've got an okay shot. Can't get open to save my life, though. I got the speed of a tree sloth. Thanks for watching. I'm Dan Besbris at Dan Besbris on Twitter. Please follow over there. But the most important thing is hit that subscribe button on the way out. Let's keep growing all the pods. Every time a handful of you guys subscribe and we get more viewers, I need fewer YouTube members and Patreon members to cover all my childcare. We are getting there, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dan Besbris for the Old Man Squad. Thanks again to FanDuel and the Believe Network. That's it for shows today. We'll get you a 2-pack tomorrow. I think we might be back with Matt Lawson tomorrow. Ooh, that would be sweet. I just got excited about tomorrow's shows. Only one way to find out. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you then. I'll leave the board up, by the way, here on the outro.